It's that time again. It's the Berkey and the Badger Board Game Babble Show. It's going to get wild. It's going to get wacky. It might even get a little zany. We're going to talk about board games and the board game industry. And, you know, we might talk about anything else we want to talk about. I think this is a good segue for us to move into our sponsorship. We've been doing Berkey and Badger here for a little over 4 years, and Arcane Wonders has just been such an awesome sponsor. Started out with the first game, Sheriff of Nottingham, and Royals and Spoils of War, and a lot of these Dice Tower essential games. Dragon Scale. I know that Dragon Scales, you probably can't see it here. But
they did a great job publishing that. The sales were not where they should be, but they did a great job publishing it. So
yeah, and it's a great game. There's so many fantastic games that Arcane Wonders has done, Mage Wars and different things, Smartphone Inc. and so forth. But in fact, speaking of smartphone, we actually have a winner of the Smartphone Inc. contest. And it is Matt, and here I'm going to try to not butcher it, but Hovenars. And he's actually from Ontario, Canada, and he had to take a picture of himself with a tablet like you see on the cover of our box here. And he is the winner of Smartphone Inc. and Smartphone Inc. 1.1 expansion. So congratulations to Matt. If you want to check out Smartphone or any of the other awesome games, you can go to arcanewonders.com. But we want to take most of our time about this sponsorship to talk about the fantastic game that is Freedom 5. And we have the designer here, Richard Launius. I know there's also some co-development and designing with the Stadler brothers.
Yeah, Adam and Brady Sadler designed the game with me. So,
well, tell us a little bit about what's going. The Kickstarter has only got 4 days left. It's been doing really, really well. Barry has it up there in euros at 532,000 euros. I think it's over 600,000.
I think it cleared 700,000 a little. Maybe not. It's on its way to
630,000.
630. Okay. It's definitely on it going up, and that's great. Basically, Freedom 5 started when I first pitched the game to Brian Pope over 3 years ago at Gen Con, because he always loved the Defenders line of business. And I told him, I said, I have an idea of making a superhero version of Defenders of the Realm. And I kind of pitched the idea to him over lunch. I kind of drew it out on a napkin, actually. He loved it. I told him, I said, look, no commitment on your part other than I will design the game. I will show it to you. If you like it, you got first choice. If you don't like it, it can go away. And then the next day I had lunch with Adam and Brady. And they, of course, have always loved Defenders of the Realm, both of them, which I've always appreciated. And they're great designers, spent their early years with Fantasy Flight. And so they said, we ought to do something together sometime. So I told them about the idea I'd pitched to Brian Pope, and they were interested. And so we just started designing the superhero version of Defenders. And, the game dramatically changes from Defenders in a whole lot of ways. First of all, it's not a tower defense game. The enemy's not trying to get to a single location. There's a single mastermind who's, each comic book who has their own plan of what they're trying to do. Then they've got supporting villains that, are on the board, moving around to different locations, creating anarchy. And if they create too much anarchy, that causes the mastermind plan to move even faster. There are henchmen, on the board, similar to minions, but not like minions, because, basically as they overrun the board, they move on to whoever their villain is, and they provide additional support to them there. You cannot lose to the henchmen, which is a big difference. And probably the other biggest difference is every hero has their own deck of power cards. So you're not drawing from a group deck. They have huge powers of each color. They can also use those cards to ultimately attack villains in the mastermind with. But so each character is extremely unique in the deck they have and how they go about cleaning up the villains. So
now I see this is set in the Sentinels of the Multiverse type.
it was, but it was
the
not
creator of the
originally
games,
set
right?
there. After we completed the first design and we met with Brian Pope, and he said, "Yes, I absolutely want this game. It's fantastic." We had a conversation because we had created heroes and villains for the game. And I told him then, I said, I love the Sentinels universe. I would really love it if we could do this game in the Sentinels universe. It'll take some redesign to do that, but I would love to go and have to put that work in if we can come to an agreement with, the guys at Greater Than Games. And of course, I've worked with all of them before. And so we talked to them. They showed some interest. I went ahead then and actually recreated the game in their universe even before we had them on board to show them how the game would play using their heroes, their villains,
Wow.
and their world. The whole board got recreated and everything got recreated. So that took me about another 6 months to do. So we're like a year and 6 months into the game now.
Wow.
And so we sat down and we play it with Christopher and 2 or 3 others from Chris Kirkman was in that group that we played it with from the Greater Than Games. They liked what they saw. Christopher kept telling me, I really like this, but I don't know if I have time to dedicate to it. And I told him, all you have to do for us, Christopher, is provide kind of, oversight as a creator. Make sure we stay on target. I will do all the stuff and I will make sure it treats your universe properly. And we ultimately, when about 6 months later, came to a deal. And over the last year, we've been working to get this game ready to go on to Kickstarter. So it's been a 3-year project. I mean, obviously, I've done some other game work in there, so it's not been the only game I've worked on, but it has been the longest game design of anything I've worked on. And it has, I think it's in its 9th version. So that's how much redevelopment, we've done over time. And I think we've got over 400, maybe 500 hours of play testing in. And we still, are continuing to play test it because as we bring new heroes in, we have to make sure everything continues to work. We're still looking at things okay, this little piece still we think is a little bit clunky, even though it doesn't bother our current play testers. We think when it's mass market, that might be something we want to change. So we're constantly looking at that and addressing it. The game is hard, okay, because it should be. It's a co-op game, but what it requires is the players to use their powers as their hero, and they have to find ways to key off of each other, okay? The heroes work together, but they all have different abilities and different focuses, and if they use those together, they'll find themselves able to beat any villain. Now, the nice thing about the storyline is we've created comic book arcs. Obviously, Christopher and his team have been helpful on that. And whether you win or lose, if you're playing the campaign game, whether you win or lose, you advance to a different comic, okay? Or you advance, the story advances. Mm-hmm. And you may gain hardships that'll affect you in the next one. You will get new cards. You will get bonuses that affect you in the next one. There are little side quests. We call them, I don't know if we're going to call them quests. We haven't finalized the rule book on what we're calling them yet. I like to call them the meanwhile effect. Meanwhile, across town, so-and-so was doing this. And if you achieve those things in certain chapters, you'll either get a bonus in your current story, or you might get a head start on your next story because you know something about the next villain or something like that. So it's got a lot of that type stuff. When I originally designed the game, we were going to have 3 comics in the base game, and then we were going to sell comic, and each comic is a scenario, comes with a mastermind, comes with a villain. Could be the same mastermind and some of the same villains because it's, it arcs. But in the Kickstarter, I think we're there 10 or 12 comics now, okay, which is 3 story arcs that we put into the game. Each one of those stories has envelopes or a box that you'll open afterwards that will add new stuff to your game as you go. It is not a legacy game, which means you can put everything back in the box and play all over again if you want to. It is a true campaign game. So that gives you a feeling for it. And you can do superhero stuff. Like in Defenders of the Realm, you would never go after a general by yourself. You would never. No. You would always have to team up, and you can team up here. But you know what? If I'm walking around and I don't like Fright Train and I just want to hit him, and I've got 5 red cards, I just go in and hit him. Okay, he deals 2 damage to me, but I might have done 4 or 5 to him, and he doesn't heal. So he'll get some minor healing possibly in the counter strike after attack, but other than that, he's not going to heal those points. So if you feel like a superhero want to go smack somebody, go smack somebody and go on with it.
So you mentioned that you're playing off one another's powers when you are dealing with different player counts. I'm not sure. Do you have a solo version of the game too?
You can't actually. There's one scenario that's simply a solo one where it's a side adventure, and it's where Ambuscade is hunting superheroes. I've said it to you could play with more, but it's designed as a one-on-one. He picks one of the Freedom 5, and he's trying to hunt them down, and it's just them against the other one. And and neither can heal. There are special abilities that might make them heal, but they don't get to use any normal healing in that particular game. So the villain's not healing, they're not healing. It's one-on-one. I call it kind of the Die Hard version. Yeah. I've got you trapped in this city, and we're going to end it. One of us is going down. And but you can play it with just one hero if you want to. I don't advise one hero because you can't cover a lot of territory, and you do lack certain skills. But the system is designed to where it doesn't care how many players are playing. You carry out your turn, then the villains will carry out their turn. Then the next player will carry out their turn, then the villains will. So if it's just me, I go, villains go. I go, villains go. Now, if I was going to play Solitaire, if it wasn't a design scenario for Solitaire, I would probably play with 2 or 3 heroes. And that'll give me some synergies between them. It'll let me cover more ground. It's just kind of more fun, and it's not overwhelming. Okay. You have 5 actions on your turn. You always start your turn in your private life. You can spend as many actions as you want in your private life doing private life type things. You flip your card over to the hero side, and now you are in your uniform and you go do hero things. You can choose to flip over at any time. You could choose to just stay a private life the whole time. That doesn't seem like much fun to me, so I probably would never do it. And I've never seen anybody do it unless they were just so injured they didn't have enough actions to do much as a superhero. But once you become a hero, you can play cards. Your power cards are all heroic cards, so you can play cards. You can move around and just do normal attacks. But everybody has a lot of abilities. So the one thing I focused on in this game, and this really took place year 1, every time that Brady Item and I would talk that we were making changes to the game after playtesting, we said, we're just going to keep making the heroes more and more heroic. If we have to make the villains tougher, fine. But every decision is the heroes are more heroic. And when you play these heroes in this game, you will feel like you're a hero. You do have the ability to do a lot of different stuff specific to your character. And I think we've kept the heroes very true to the Sentinels universe. So if you're a Sentinels fan, you're going to recognize the character that you play. And there's a character for everybody. I always tell people, if you don't like to roll dice, play Tachyon. Tachyon is so fast that every time she rolls the dice, she can roll them again if she doesn't like the results she gets. And probably a third of her cards, she doesn't even roll dice. She just runs around and knocks people out. Okay, so she's just zipping around the city. So there's characters for everybody, everybody's play style, and there's a lot of opportunity. And we've even added recently the hero upgrade system. So as the game goes on, you get upgrade cards, and you can craft your hero now. Now we're keeping it a limited. Okay, you can't make Absolute Zero feel like Legacy, or Legacy feel like there's going to be more of them. Okay, so they will get some different powers. They will get increased powers to what they currently have, where they're just stronger. There are some universal things they can get, which anybody could add to their deck, but the system is not trying to let you just take a character and all of a sudden Legacy is not Legacy anymore. Legacy is always going to be Legacy. And Tachyon's always going to be Tachyon. They're just
and
going
Epic
to be...
is always going to be a game that Richard Launius designs, because every game is epic.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the Defenders line has been a great line. Defenders of the Realm, when I think fantasy, it's one of the questions Brian Pope asked me, is this the best game in the Defenders line? It absolutely is right now. But you've got to love superheroes, because every game in the Defenders line have built off of stuff from the last one, okay, and constantly make them better. But if you don't like superheroes, you're probably not going to like this game. If you do like superheroes and you like Defenders of the Realm and you like Sentinels of the Multiverse, you're probably going to love this game. Well, now, just like fantasy, then Defenders of the Realm is probably what you're after.
When you see this Kickstarter, and we talked earlier a little bit about production value and how that plays together with theme, this thing oozes theme. Obviously, there's a fantastic design pedigree with yourself and the Stadler brothers, and Brian Pope himself is quite an accomplished designer, and I know he's crazy meticulous about getting things right. He wants to make sure the math works, and those.
And by the way, his skill at from his games where you can craft your character skills and stuff. Obviously, that came into play when we started doing the upgrade system. Brian definitely, you can see Brian's finger on that, which is nice because he is very talented.
Well, and so you've got this element of fantastic mechanics, this wonderful theme. And then you look at the production, you look at the artwork in this game, the amount of effort that they've put into these scenario books. Oh my goodness, you're getting a comic book with every one.
Yeah. I actually do get, I'm not a Marvel, but I do get to write comic books now. So I have been doing that.
It's remarkable. And then looking at the miniatures and the different things, now they've just talked about the new upgrade with this big honking villain. What's it, Obatron or
Omnitron? Omnitron is like 5 inches tall, and Omnitron is a really interesting piece of the Sentinels storyline, because he's not only a villain, he becomes a cosmic villain, and then he becomes a hero. Okay. Because he realizes that he shouldn't be doing that, and he can jump back through time. So Omnitron is interesting. And I'm just now got the outline that I'm working on for his initial storyline, and I'm going to talk with Christopher even more about that. But I'm going to do some fun things with him, especially because they're going to let me bring in the Mars space station, area where when we do Cosmic Omnitron. We can have some action up there. Same thing with Voss, Grand Warlord Voss. So that's going to be a sideboard. I've just now started figuring out what all I want to do with that. But it's not just going to set out to the side. It's going to have some true game functionality into it. And so I'm excited about that. They obviously, the Arcane Wonders people are great to work with. They've done. I feel they've done a great job with this. They've done a great job with the Kickstarter. Every now and then they let me know, like today, oh, by the way, we've added a 12th hero, so in this last package, we'll have to talk about that 12th hero. And I'm like,
I just had a meeting with Walter Barber, one of the key
Walter
working, and Walter's such a great guy, and they're actually going to be offering now on the Kickstarter individual play mats that we are going to partner with Arcane Wonders to make game topper play mats that are the full 3mm stitched edge mats, where you can actually buy 4 and get 1 free, and they have a big pledge where you can get them in there. But we're also talking about making a large mat that would create the environment, and it might not be ready now till the post late pledge manager, but there'll be some opportunities to continue to enhance this gameplay with all this amazing production value. Good grief.
Oh, that'd be great. By the way, Walter and I were talking right before the Kickstarter started, and he goes, he showed me all the rewards. He says, "Is there anything on here you don't see that you want?" I said, "Individual play mats." I said, "I would love to have individual play mats." So I'm so glad to hear that we are providing those, because it'd just be nice that we've got all this other great stuff. Why not a great way to just coordinate all your stuff on the table? So
yeah, there they are. Barry's showing the picture right there. Beautiful.
Yep, gonna be great.
And
and the thing is, obviously, I hope everybody joins the Kickstarter, buys it. I think all the stuff that they're getting is going to cost a lot more after the Kickstarter, and I'm not even sure when all of it will become available after the Kickstarter. So if you're a real fan, I think you need to be involved definitely with the Kickstarter. But if it affects gameplay, it will definitely be sold at some point. And my hope is that the Kickstarter does great, that sales does great afterwards, because then we can start exploring other things in the Sentinels line.
I thought you were going to say explore more Defenders of the Realm.
Well, I've always got a lot of things on Defenders of the Realm that I can do. The Defenders world is a vast world also, and so yeah, I've always got more stuff for Defenders of the Realm.
Well, I think we've done a good job talking about Freedom 5. It's on Kickstarter. It's only available through Friday to get in on all of these extra stretch goals. I know the Lake Pledge Manager will allow you to get in after the fact too, but I think there's some advantages to getting in to unlock some of these amazing stretch goals. And man, they've been pumping out content, and you have till this Friday to still get in on the Freedom 5 Kickstarter from Arcane Wonders in collaboration with Greater Than Games, designed by Richard Launius and the Stadler brothers, Brian Pope and the team there. So check them out at arcanewonders.com or on Kickstarter.
We're so glad we had this time together. Now it's time to go. It won't be long until we have another show. So keep us in mind, get online. Berkey and Badger will be back in no time.